Well, hello there. My name is Camila. I'm the creator of Let's Talk Miami. And I wanted to change up the format from just having Instagram and Facebook posts to actually doing something more intimate. The whole point of Let's Talk Miami was let's talk. So hopefully we can create some dialogue with some of these topics and get your feedback and really just start thinking about certain things. So I hope you like this, and like I said, please let me know what you think. So today's topic that we're first starting with is socialism. I think now that the November elections are 5 weeks away, so people remember to vote. You have till October 5th to register if you haven't. Um, this is something that's kind of come up more and more and more. And I think it's necessary that we first understand what socialism is. A lot of people are just throwing this word around and they don't really know what it is. So we're going to delve into that today. So I actually want to do something a little different. I want to define what socialism is, talk about what kind of economic system we actually are living under, and then I want to talk about populism. I think that is something that we are not exploring and we should be. So let's first start with defining socialism. And socialism is a populist economic and political system based on public ownership of the means of production and distribution of goods. And in a socialist economy, a worker contributes to society based on their ability and receives according to their needs, rather than being paid wages and you buy whatever you want. Private possessions are only limited to your personal use, such as your clothes or your shoes. Basically, there is no need for you to accumulate wealth because it belongs to everyone and now everyone is equal. So that's the idea of socialism, and as you hear it, you realize it's impossible. Because human beings are ambitious people, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So under these pretexts of working for a common good, a government will acquire your land because your empty land is not being used well, and we can use it to put crops and feed the population. And so socialism, you see this currently in Cuba, in Venezuela, and then we think of the former Soviet Union or Nazi Germany. So where we see these types of socialist economic systems. And so that's socialism, right? But then we need to define, do we live under socialist economic system? And you will all say no. But do we actually live in a capitalist economic system? And the answer will come as a surprise to many, but the answer is actually no. We are not a purely capitalistic economic system here in the United States. In fact, here in the United States, private individuals have the right to own property, produce, and trade, but state intervenes gradually through regulations in the name of protecting consumers or supporting industries crucial to the common good, such as the energy industry, and providing welfare or other aspects of the social safety net. So Medicare and Social Security are actually socialist policies. And I want to call that out because when I listen to many Republican candidates, and I'm not just talking about presidential, but you hear it among our Congress and even our local representatives, they talk about the dangers of socialism that the Democrats are showing, but then they turn around and they talk about their agenda, and their agenda includes protecting our elderly through Social Security and Medicare.
My administration will never waver in its relentless commitment to America's seniors. We owe them a sacred and unbreakable obligation, and we will fulfill that obligation with every resource and power that we have. We are working very hard with our seniors, and we're working very hard with our nursing homes, and great progress is being made and will be made, that I can promise you. That's also why we are strongly protecting Medicare and Social Security. We will protect your Social Security, we will protect your Medicare, we will protect you as American citizens.
So that's something I just want to bring up, that when you're listening to this um, insults of Democrats about being socialist, please pay attention to what their agenda actually includes. It will include socialist policies, and just for you to think about, socialism became popular during the Industrial Revolution. And during the Industrial Revolution, we had child labor, we had 16-hour work weeks, and we had truly a huge income inequality between the rich and the poor. The poor, I would say, were actually living in misery, while you had the rich, wealthy companies, these owners making a lot of profit. So socialism arose from that inequality, and due to the demands of many, including the populist movement. There was a populist movement here in the United States. We were able to get 8-hour work days, but we were able to work less. We were able to get breaks, lunch breaks. That was mandated by law afterwards. That wasn't something that was available before. So you do see the need for government to regulate in a capitalist marketplace, because if not, we have these kind of injustices, really. So I think both Republicans and Democrats will agree. We do need some kind of safety net. And we can't just have a purely market economy. And so because of that, we do have this mixed economic system. So now that we've established what socialism truly is, and what economic system we actually live under, let's talk about populism. Populism is a political movement that champions or claims to champion the common person. They're the ones that are out to protect the common person's interests and their financial and economic well-being. And meanwhile, they compare themselves to the elite or the establishment, which is usually the wealthy. And we can see this in both sides of the spectrum, in both Republican and Democrats. But what is particularly characteristic about the populist movement is that you tend to go against this establishment or champion these interests through these type of tactics. You scapegoat against minority communities, so against the immigrants. These immigrants are taking away our jobs. They're lowering our wages. Those are the kind of things you hear. Then there is rampant racism. There is this huge outcry of nationalism, and anybody who opposes is not a patriot. And then another thing that you have in populist government is a huge distribution of conspiracy theories. And all of this is meant to create fear and ultimately for you to come to the conclusion that all of these things are happening against you and you need someone to protect you against these, whether it be the immigrants, whether it be these conspiracies, whether it be against these people that are not patriotic. And it's meant to establish that leader's power. And I can't help but, as I listen to this, think of what's currently happening in our current presidency. Um, we are constantly being distracted with these kind of tactics. And you have to ask yourself, what are we being distracted from? And in populist governments, you use these tactics to distract from the main issues that are occurring in your country and the failures of that leader to address or solve those issues. So we have a lot of problems that are going on as a nation. And number one being the economy. The economy is in shambles, really. We have a debt that surmounts $20 trillion that eventually someone's going to have to pay off. In our future generations, there is no such thing as a free giveaway. No, you have to pay for it. And we don't have any solutions or anything going to say that we're going to reduce that debt or we're going to reduce the current inflation that we're dealing with. And if you don't believe that there's inflation, you truly believe in the Fed's numbers, then I want you to compare your receipts from the supermarket at the beginning of the year versus today. And let me know if you don't see a huge uptick in prices. And that's what's considered inflation. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because just as much as there is a validity in bringing up the dangers that socialism can bring to our nation and our communities, we need to also talk about the threat of populism and what that means to us. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that this is just coming out of my mind, or do you think that maybe this is something that we need to talk about, that we need to be vigilant about? Let me know down in the comments, and if you want to know more about these kind of topics, I'd like to do more of these type of videos, so just make sure to subscribe down below. See you next time.